Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Political Insider. I'm Brett Smith, your humble host, the humblest of all hosts. Joining me today, again, is Chris Barron of Right Turn Strategies, frequently seen on Kennedy Nation on Fox Business Network and Waters World on Fox News Channel, and one of our talented op-ed writers at the Political Insider. So you have a brand new op-ed titled, Senate Republicans Can Do Whatever They Want, or Can Do What They Want. Democrats Already Shot the Hostage. And I just love this headline because it just perfectly frames where we are with this new SCOTUS pick in so many ways. Let's start with the obvious. What were the chances that Trump, of all people, would get to replace 3 justices in just one term?
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable. And look, I made the point in my op-ed. Look, I think the president's going to be reelected. But if for some reason he isn't reelected, his legacy is intact. We're going to talk about a conservative judiciary for a lifetime, 30 or 40 years of a solidly conservative judiciary. Whatever else Trump has accomplished, this is going to be an accomplishment that no other president in our lifetime can boast of. It's absolutely unbelievable. Jimmy Carter in his 4 years didn't get to nominate a single Supreme Court justice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. The Dems have said all options are on the table as far as Amy Coney Barrett. What do they mean by that?
Well, I mean, in terms of all options are on the table, what they mean is for if they take power back, because basically there's absolutely nothing that they can do. I mean, they're powerless. By the way, thank you, Harry Reid. Thank you, Harry Reid, for ending the judicial filibuster, which allows Senate Republicans to do whatever they want. But when they talk about all options are on the table, it's the grab bag of crazy left-wing crap that they're going to do if they get elected anyways. They're talking about statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico, not by constitutional amendment, but just through a legislative action of the House and Senate. They're talking about packing the judiciary. They're talking about abolishing the Electoral College. But they want to do all that stuff anyways. Yeah. They don't care. If Joe Biden gets elected, Democrats hold the House and they retake the Senate, they're going to do all of these things. So who cares?
Let's say that scenario plays out. Can they do that stuff? I mean, don't you need some consent of the states? The
statehood for Puerto Rico and DC is on its face. It's completely unconstitutional. It's insane. Yeah. And by the way, court packing, I can't think of something that is more out of step with where the country is and the idea of packing the court. And by the way, if for some reason they do take the White House and the Senate, then we should add 5 justices before Trump leaves. It's constitutional if it's constitutional for them, it's constitutional for us. Again, this is just another level.
Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties with the Wi-Fi, but we are back. I'm just going to pick up where I left off. When it comes to Amy Coney Barrett, what are Dems so afraid of?
They're afraid that this is going to be, a monumental swing on the Supreme Court. Amy Coney Barrett is a committed conservative. She's young. She could be on the court for the next 40 years. And she's got a reputation as somebody who gets along well with people that she is ideologically opposed to, which that terrifies them because, look, whether we like it or not, the Supreme Court these days is about justices convincing each other on legal matters. Trying to persuade fellow justices on an issue. So having a young, committed conservative who's capable of persuading her fellow justices, that's a nightmare for Democrats. And for Democrats, because at the end of the day, they rely on the judiciary. This is their backstop for everything. Everything they can't get through the legislative process, they just wait for the courts to sweep in and do it for them, and the courts generally do it.
Well, and it's funny because from what I've seen, it seems like no matter how many conservatives we put on the court, we always get liberal rulings, just like with Obamacare. What's up with that?
Well, here's the thing. But I also think it depends on who's done the picking. I mean, is it a surprise that the Chief Justice is a disappointment? No. I mean, George W. Bush was a disappointment, so it shouldn't be surprising that his choice for Chief Justice is a disappointment. Neil Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett are much more, ideological conservatives than Chief Justice Roberts. And that was, by the way, that was by design. You know, I mean, if you remember that entire, like, you know, the problem with that you know, at first they were going to nominate Harriet Miers, this woman who worked in the White House, and like that all fell apart because like she turns out she wasn't really much of a conservative. Not surprising. I mean, George W. Bush wasn't much of a conservative, so it shouldn't be surprising. Like Trump's picks have been solid conservatives. They're going to shape the court for the next generation.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think with regard to Amy Coney Barrett, you know, if she gets confirmed and she is the next Supreme Court justice, do you actually think there's a shot at repealing Roe v. Wade? I mean, like it or not, the majority of the country supports it.
No, I don't think so. I think what you can hope for is to start carving some holes in Roe v. Wade. I think it is look, the Supreme Court does not like to go back and completely and totally reverse itself. Precedent exists, and it exists for a reason. Whether we like it or not, the fact is, it's not just Roe v. Wade. It's a whole progeny of cases that followed Roe v. Wade that are based on Roe v. Wade. So there are the tentacles of that case are all throughout our legal system. The best I think we can hope for is a chipping away at that, allowing the legislature and the people of the country to have a bigger say when it comes to the question of abortion. And look, that itself would be a victory.
Yeah, I agree. I think a little federalism, a little states' rights is a healthy thing, you know, and it's largely, you know, it's part of what the country was founded on.
And look, by the way, we need the legislature to act on things like abortion. The fact is that we've had a human life amendment that has been in the Republican Party platform since 1980, and we've never had a single vote in the Senate on a human life amendment. Like, you know, we can't keep pining for this judiciary, the Supreme Court that's going to come in magically, swoop in, and overturn Roe v. Wade and save us from having to do the hard work. You know, if we care about abortion, we ought to have a vote in the Senate on the human life amendment. Look, the votes aren't. I know the votes aren't there now, and I understand that. But until we actually start prioritizing stuff like that, we can't expect that we're going to make headway on it.
Yeah, I agree. I think chipping away at this stuff is much better than going in with one fell swoop and doing away with Roe v. Wade. It's the incremental approach is better, and you're going to get far better outcomes out of that through sort of the baby steps.
Well, and look, by the way, we've seen opinion poll after opinion poll show that actually the only social issue where younger people are starting to move a little more conservatively is on the question of abortion. But we still have to do. So let's make some of these incremental changes. Like, look, let the Democrats be the ones who are defending, you know, brutal late-term partial birth abortions. Let them be the ones who are opposing born alive acts. Like, let's make them, you know, take the sides of these really gruesome, extreme positions, and let's start making some headway there. Let's start peeling some of this back.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, who is Amy Coney Barrett, and why are Dems attacking her faith? I find it fascinating that you know, after just the brutal Kavanaugh hearings, that you know that this is the angle that Dems are going after. They're going after her faith, which makes me think of John F. Kennedy back in the '60s. How you know that was the line of attack on him. The word was that what was it, that the Catholic Church would be basically working out of the Oval Office, you know. So
No,
we're kind of back to that again. Only it's flipped. It's the Democrat candidate. Democrats going after Republican candidate over faith, in this case Catholicism.
Well, the reason they're going after Amy Coney Barrett on her faith is because it's the only thing they have to go after her on. I mean, look, she's eminently qualified to be on the Supreme Court. Even people who disagree with her, legal scholars have said, look, she's eminently qualified to be on the Supreme Court. Everyone who's ever worked for her, worked with her, said that she's a tremendous legal scholar. Like, I mean, from the get-go, the question of is whether or not this woman is qualified to be on the Supreme Court. Check that box right away. We're done with it. Look, they already ran the Kavanaugh where were you at this high school party thing. That's not going to work on Amy Coney either. So what do they got left? I mean, they've attacked her family now. Like we've seen, folks out there who are attacking her for adopting two black kids from Haiti, which is absolutely repulsive, and attacking her faith again, absolutely repulsive. But it's all they've got. I mean, look, at some point, it is the genius of the Amy Coney Barrett nomination. Is Democrats are forced to go in some really ugly directions because on the penultimate question, is she qualified to be on the Supreme Court? The answer is yes.
Yeah. Who do you think right now is the strongest conservative on the court, in your opinion?
Thomas.
Yeah.
Justice Thomas.
Same here.
It was absolutely the most committed conservative on the court. And look, I think there's going to be a lot of. I think it'll be rare finding the decision where Clarence Thomas and Amy Coney Barrett will part ways, and that'll be nice. I mean, look, there's still a lot of dissents where it used to be 7-2 decisions where it was Alito and Clarence Thomas in the dissent, and I still think there'll be some times where that happens because these two will definitely be the most committed conservatives on the court. Yeah,
I totally agree. And something else that I was thinking about the other day was Thomas is getting up there. I mean, there could be a potential here if Trump gets reelected that he could get a 4th pick, which is insane.
Let's not go the Ruth Bader Ginsburg route. Right? I mean, look, she could have avoided this. She was so concerned about who was going to be picking her successor. She could have retired from the court in 2016 when she was 83 years old, and Obama could have selected her successor. Yeah. She didn't do that because she liked her job. That's fine. And I think she thought obviously that Hillary Clinton was going to win. But they gambled and they were wrong, and they're going to lose control of the court for a generation. But let's not make that same mistake. I love Clarence Thomas. I think he's an amazing Supreme Court justice. But when he starts thinking about, hey, I might need to think about retiring, he should do it. Like, by the way, Sandra Day O'Connor is still alive. Sandra Day O'Connor hasn't been on the court in a really long time because she made the decision to retire. And I know I've read some things saying that Sandra Day O'Connor regretted retiring when she did, and that it was one of the things that influenced Ruth Bader Ginsburg is that she didn't want to step away too soon. But the flip of that coin is that you just have to be happy to leave it up to the fates. Then you can't have people complaining that now Trump gets to replace Ruth Bader Ginsburg because that's how the system works. And if you want to have a say in it, then you better retire on the watch of a president who you trust.
Well, and they could have put Lenin on the court if they wanted to at that time when they had both houses of Congress and Obama. They did not play the long game. They just figured, and I think a lot of it was her hubris. I think that's what got in the way of her stepping down, is not playing the long game and thinking, hey, you know what? My health is starting to deteriorate. I'm 83 years old. Maybe it's time that I find that deck chair with that cocktail waiting for me and allow this president to select someone to replace me that is in my image.
And by the way, look, in 2015, even though Republicans controlled the Senate, there's no way they'd be able to do it like the Merrick Garland thing. There's no way they'd be able to say, well, you don't get to have your nominee voted on a year plus out from an election. Like it wouldn't have flown. They would have had to have. So yeah, maybe Obama would have had to work with Senate Republicans so they wouldn't get somebody through that it would be as ideologically to the left as Ruth Bader Ginsburg. But think about who that person might be versus who they're going to get now. They're going to get Amy Coney Barrett, and there's nothing that they can do about it. So
they have nobody to blame but themselves for being in this position. They gambled and they lost, fair and square.
Absolutely. This is the way that it works, and like you said, if Trump is reelected, Trump may get an opportunity for a 4th Supreme Court nomination,
which would be crazy. I mean, like we talked about earlier, earlier, to get 3 is just unheard of, but potentially to have 4, and I'm also looking at Breyer too, man. I mean, that guy, I think he actually, there was some rumblings like years ago about him potentially stepping down because he's getting up there as well.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Look, and I mean, it's insane. Could you imagine with Trump, a majority Trump nominated Supreme Court? Like, oh God, like Not my SCOTUS.
It's going to be absolute mayhem if he ends up in that position. So, given the hysterical reaction of the Democrats so far, do you think there's any way our country can return to some semblance of normalcy after the election?
I'd like to think so. But I mean, look, it's gonna require some introspection on the part of the media and on the left.
Mm-hmm.
I thought after 2016, after Trump surprised everybody by winning, I thought there would be that introspection. I thought there would be people who would say, like, man, I missed out on something, Like people who'd go back and look at all the things Selena Zito was writing during the election about this, these people out in Ohio and Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin who were Obama Trump supporters, and this like grassroots surge of, blue collar rural America for Trump. And instead of having that introspection, we've had the exact opposite. We've had that anger and not my president. And look, I hope after this is over, look, I said this week, if Biden wins, I'm going to be really disappointed. I've never felt so personally invested in an election like Trump's reelect. But if that's the case, I'll be unhappy, but Joe Biden will still be my president. And I wish that folks on the left would be willing to be that mature politically as well. They can dislike Trump. They can disagree with him on policy issues, but they have to understand that this is how the system works. We've all agreed to play by the rules, and whether they like it or not, we have to respect outcomes.
Yeah, I completely agree. I didn't enjoy the Obama years, but at the same time, he was my president, and I also knew that we would get a shot in 4 years, and then another shot in another 4 years. This is the game. This is the game, and you can either play it or you can run out into the middle of the street and stop traffic and have a tantrum.
Well, and by the way, it's not just the left that's done this. This has been my complaint with the establishment. Like, I held my nose and voted for Mitt Romney. I couldn't stand Mitt Romney. I was against him. I mean, until the very end. It was a month before the election before I actually committed to voting for Romney. I was fully prepared to vote for Gary Johnson because I just hate Mitt Romney. But I held my nose and I did it because that's what we're supposed to do. And the establishment is unwilling to do the same thing when it comes to Trump. They expect all of us to accept the outcome when they win, but when we win, they all get to walk away from it. So look, I think there's a lot of people who ought to be doing some introspection after this election's over, and remember that these institutions have worked well for us for a couple hundred years, and that maybe we should start respecting those outcomes even when we're not happy with them.
Yeah, again, it's hubris, man. This idea that that we can take this 243-year-old experiment and just say, well, this doesn't work anymore. So let's engineer society and government and economics in some new fashionable way. Sorry.
Well, as you pointed out, there'll be other elections.
Exactly.
If God forbid Trump loses in 2020, I'm going to be more amped about 2024 and taking back the White House than I've ever been.
Well, and that's our side. I mean, it's like you talked about. 2016, there was absolutely no reconciliation on behalf of Democrats. They never took the time to understand why they lost. Hillary never reconciled why she lost. They don't care. They've just been kind of this party of spoiled, petulant children ever since 2016. And, I held my nose. I voted for McCain. I held my nose. I voted for Romney. But unlike the Dems, our party, or at least the constituency of the Republican Party, finally said, "Okay, well, this isn't working. Let's try something different." And that's exactly what Trump was in 2016. He was the perfect remedy.
Yeah, and again, by the way, like if the president doesn't win re-election, which I don't think is going to be the case, I think he's going to win re-election. But if he doesn't, then I think we as a party ought to start having some serious conversations about what happened. How did we get from 2016 to 2020? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to be out there like, nah, my president. Like, there will be some introspection. I'll be like, maybe there were some things I missed. Like, there's some things we could have done differently or better or whatever. Like, that's what smart people and smart political minds do. They want to learn from the mistakes of the past so they don't end up making them again. Democrats refuse to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's this is just what you do personally and professionally in your life when things go the other way. You reevaluate and you retool and you go and give it another shot.
Yep.
And I watch all these kids having all these meltdowns on Twitter and crying and screaming and going crazy and just being in these crazy frenzies. And I'm just kind of like, okay, you do get another shot at this. This isn't forever. There's going to be other elections.
There will be. Look, there's going to be presidents in my lifetime that I'm not going to like. Democrats are the White House again. Democrats will control Senate at some time. At some point, we're going to control the House again. Like this is the cyclical nature of politics. It is bizarre that there's been this large portion of the left that has almost erased all history except for like the last 4 years.
Right.
The weird like black hole somewhere, like where nothing else exists outside of it. And I'm like, take a breath, take a step back, guys. Like it's gonna be fine.
They like that kind of getting rid of history beyond present day, because that way they can control the narrative and control history, their version of it. And it's disturbing, that's basically sort of the cancel culture in a lot of ways. They're canceling our own history. You look at that with the just the educational system, and in books like The People's Republic of the United States by Howard Zinn. I mean, this is all revisionist history, but at the same time, they're literally shutting down current history, like what's going on today, which is bizarre. Yep. So it's very 1984. That's all I can say. It's just bizarre, and not the cool Van Halen 1984. It's kind of like
the Orwell one. Yeah,
we ended up with the Orwell one, and I keep saying we need to make America 80s again so we can have the Van Halen 1984 one. That was much cooler, much better party as far as I'm concerned. So, all right. Well, sadly, we are all out of time today. I want to thank Chris for joining me. Everyone, make sure and check out thepoliticalinsider.com. and subscribe to our newsletters so you never miss any of our stories from our talented writers. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Please like and share this video far and wide. Subscribe to the Political Insider channel on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss any of our new exciting videos, just like this one. And everyone have a great day, and we will see you next time. Take care.